Hey gang, it's JC, and this is the Daily Dose for Thursday, November 17th, 2011. A combined venture with Mind Active, no longer in beautiful downtown Brentwood. We're now in Clayton. We'll get to that story somewhere down the line. We'll get to the big story, the one that has set the world on fire here in just a couple of seconds. But first, results of yesterday's rock and roll poll, which was, have you ever personally known someone who was a murder victim? And a whopping 59% of you say no, but that means 4 out of every 10 of you know someone who was murdered, which is sort of shocking, really. All right, anyhow, on to today's rock and roll poll question. Walmart and Target are among the stores planning to open for Black Friday sales as early as 9 p.m. on Thanksgiving night. That's a week from tonight. Big question, are you going to be there? Answers: A, yes, even though I probably should be enjoying the holiday with my family. The sales are too good to pass up. B, no, I wouldn't be caught dead in that crush of maniacs. Or C, my Christmas shopping is already finished. I'm always surprised by these stores who say, you know, come to the big doorbuster special, the big doorbuster special. And then when somebody actually busts the door, they seem very surprised. All right, let's get to the story. Where do we start? By the way, for the people here in St. Louis that watch this every day and know me and know my work, please bear with me today because we have a lot of new people who are seeing this for the very first time. Yesterday, I added 1,100 new followers on Twitter, which is sort of ridiculous when you stop to think about it. And with the Twitter followers come a rash of allegations. You're doing this as a stunt. You don't know anything. People actually planning retaliation. Retaliation, mind you, if the story proves to not be true. First of all, we don't do stunts like this. We gave up on that 20 years ago. We just don't do it. And I understand your suspicion because so much of the broadcasting business has degenerated into that sort of stuff, but that's just not what we do. These accusations and people in threats and stupid stuff and creepy comments from people sitting in their mother's basements in their underwear, tapping into their next door neighbor's Wi-Fi, you know, going into attack mode. You guys, I have a crushing disappointment for you. I don't look at any of that stuff. I got a couple of people who sift through that stuff, weed through it, and pick out a handful every day that we just sort of read to ourselves for fun. But for the most part, I'm never going to see your creepy comments, so you might as well just give up right now. Here's what I do. I'm a knucklehead in St. Louis, been doing a radio show here for 27 years, and every once in a while we get our hands on a really good story. The reason that this Albert Pujols story that we broke yesterday has garnered this much of attention is very, very simple, and here's the story. And again, for the people in St. Louis who already know this, please bear with me while I get this out of the way for the people out of town, primarily who don't know this. Back in September, late September, we picked up a story that Tony La Russa was getting ready to retire from Major League Baseball. We had heard about a preparation of a room in Busch Stadium during the Cubs-Cardinals series. That was the last weekend series, home weekend series of the year. And Tony was going to make the announcement then, and then go off, play the final 3 games in Houston, and that was going to be it. Well, a funny thing happened. Atlanta collapsed, Cardinals started winning, so that room that had been prepared, and by the way, the person who was given the responsibility of preparing that room gave 2 explanations as to why the room was being prepared. And number one was that Cardinal Care, the charitable arm that does such great work here in St. Louis, was going to be making an announcement. That didn't sound right. The other explanation was that Albert Pujols was going to have a news conference because this might be the last time the St. Louis fans see Albert in a St. Louis uniform at home. Now, anybody who knows anything at all about Albert knows that is the last thing in the world he would ever do. So I started to smell something funny, started talking to more and more people, and realized we got a story here. And the story is that Tony La Russa has made the decision to resign from his position as manager, going to retire from Major League Baseball. And so the first full week of October, we went on the air with that story. Tony La Russa approached in Milwaukee in the division championship, immediately denied the story. Well, we know now, don't we, that he knew all along that he was retiring. And so Tony La Russa just continued to play baseball, won the World Series, and as soon as it was over, before the confetti was even swept up from the streets of downtown St. Louis, he made his retirement announcement. people, the media here in St. Louis went on the air and said, and in newspapers, a shocking development. Nobody saw this coming. It's like, well, no, that's not really true, because I probably said it on the air 50 to 100 times during the month of October, where we do our show on the Big 550 KTRS every day from noon until 3. So it was sort of funny that people just sort of dismissed the story. I was approaching people, sportscasters, sports reporters out on the field prior to the World Series games and telling them this story. Only Brian McKenna from 590 The Fan and George Vesey from the New York Times in any way, shape, or form acknowledged the story that we had. Everybody just dismissed it. And again, if you know anything about the sports community, there's tremendous amounts of jealousy and competition and stuff like that, and I understand all that. And the guys do a very, very good job of covering the sports teams here for the television and newspaper. And although I'm a little surprised by this insider stuff. You know, every station has somebody they call an insider, and yet no insiders had the Tony La Russa story that we had about him retiring a month before it was announced. And by the way, last Sunday, when Mike Matheny was announced as manager, new manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, none of the insiders had that either. Everybody got it at about 5:45 on Sunday evening. So just a little, got a few questions about that whole insider thing. So anyhow, we went on the air with the story, and the reaction was funny when Tony retired from Major League Baseball, and almost nobody was willing to give us credit. Now, in the midst of all of the denials, and again, I love John Mozeliak. I love the guy. He's a tremendous general manager for the Cardinals here in St. Louis, but it's his job to deny stuff like this. You know, it's a little cat and mouse game that the reporters play with. Oh, you know, and it's not just sports reporters. It's the general assignment reporters. It's the entertainment reporters. You know, somebody has a story, you're trying to get it. They want to control the flow of information. You want to get it because you want to get a scoop. And so it's a little cat and mouse game. But amidst all of the denials from the Cardinals, let's just remember this, that they denied it for a month. And Tony La Russa denied that he was retiring. We had the story the first full week of October. And on October 31st, Tony finally spilled the beans. And so let's just remember that. Albert's getting on a plane for a 2-week vacation in Hawaii tomorrow. So one of two things is going to happen. Either he's going to get on that plane without having finished the contract, and people are going to jump up and down and say that the story was false, which it isn't, by the way. Or he's going to make the announcement and then go disappear for a couple of weeks on a vacation. And either way, this story has become so supercharged at this point that I would not be surprised by anything at this point. So let's just see what happens. There's no upside, by the way, in breaking stories, because people dismiss it or deny it. They tell everybody that it's wrong. They call you an idiot. And even if you're right, they don't really usually give you the credit anyhow, because they were not the ones who broke the story. And it gets, like I said, very competitive. So let's see what happens. In the meantime, like I said, we do a radio show from noon to 3 on the Big 550 KTRS here in St. Louis. We got a website, jcontheline.com. We do the Daily Dose and a bunch of features every day. On Facebook, it's the Showgram with J.C. Corcoran. On Twitter, you can follow me at STLJC Corcoran. We added something like 11 or 1,200 new Twitter followers yesterday. Come on along for the ride. If you don't like the ride, don't go on the ride. But the ride is going to go on, and let's just leave it at that. All right, let's shift gears here now and do the rest of the stories we have for you today. It turns out Cameron Diaz and Diddy are hooking up. Just when you thought Diddy was done rapping, he's back to sampling some of Justin Timberlake's old work. President Obama was in Australia yesterday. He was entertained by the band Men Out of Work. And the House Speaker John Boehner turned 62 years old today. His colleagues tried to write him a special birthday song, but you know, nothing rhymes with orange. Bradley Cooper, People Magazine's Sexiest Man of the Year, Sexiest Man Alive for 2011. It's official on the fall schedule. Next year, NBC is bringing back The Munsters. And as expected, Ricky Gervais coming back to host the Golden Globes on January 15th. Whitney tonight, the situation comedy on NBC. Guest star will be Lisa Lampanelli. You might want to reach over right now and turn the volume down on your TV. Those are two of the loudest women I've ever seen in my life. Who said, and this is a quote, "I realized God didn't give me boobs because if I had them, I'd show them off. I'd be a slut." The words of Kelly Clarkson. Just one more reason to love Kelly Clarkson. We love you, Kelly. All right, 7 days till Thanksgiving, 38 days till Christmas. JC's Eye Candy today. And by the way, if you go down below, you'll see some cool stuff, including a photo gallery, about 60 photographs in chronological order that we put together from the Cardinals' 2011 championship season. It starts with Busch Stadium completely engulfed in snow, just a blizzard, and then it ends with the victory celebration out on the field for your 2011 world champion St. Louis Cardinals. And again, that's the photo gallery. It's right below what you're looking at. But right above that, you'll have JC's Eye Candy. We change that every day. That's either a still photograph, a couple of pictures, or maybe a viral video of some sort. Steven Tyler and Joe Perry apparently getting along much better these days. They're on vacation together in Maui. Steven's 63, Joe's 61. They don't really look their age, but with their hair all matted down and wet and stringy and everything like that, it sort of reminded me a little bit of a couple of the stills from a 1950s monster movie. And you can look at the pictures of Steven and Joe and also those pictures from the movie right below on Eye Candy, right below what you're looking at right now. All right, again, our rock and roll poll question today: Walmart and Target among the stores are going to be opening as early as 9 p.m. a week from tonight, Thanksgiving night. Will you be there? We give you 3 choices. Please answer. We'll have results for you tomorrow on the showgram on the Big 550 KTRS and here at jcontheline.com. All right, everybody take a deep breath, okay? And let's just forge ahead. Like I said, you come along for the ride, have a little fun. If not, have a nice life. That's it. JC's Daily Dose for Thursday, November 17th, 2011. A combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Clayton. And in the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.